Occasionally, I have meltdowns that are the consequence of, I guess, trauma that's going to haunt me for the rest of my days, because I cannot imagine a way to heal from that, particularly when it's difficult to even get the conversation started. And when I get the conversation started, the audience does not linger to listen to it to its fullest extent, because I guess nobody likes to sit down and be heard from a critical perspective, or to hear something about themselves that's being critically analyzed, I should say. And occasionally I think about the things that I remember was expected of me, not necessarily by both of my parents, but in a sense, it's like that familial expectation that you should do something with your life. And you guys should know that I have an extreme disconnect from my family. And I have been that way since I was around 10 years old. That's when it started for me. So it's been a long time. No matter how much I share with somebody about how much pain I have, of course, I feel better the moment that I talk about it. But because it's not something that's actively being resolved, I guess I never really experienced the benefit of it, as opposed to a very short-term relief kind of thing. And at some point, I get tired of having meltdowns about this, or even having the conversation, because what is the point of having the conversation if it will lead to nothing? Because the audience I am having is not the one that belongs for this topic. They're not the ones perpetrating anything. So it's not like there's any action expected from them. The one thing that I would say I will never be able to get over is simply my dad's abandonment. And on top of that, the absenteeism, even as an older person. It's also particularly annoying when at some point parents who have been absent, not in your presence, but to other people, they say that they have expectations of how they always wanted me to be someone, like say a professional, a teacher, a doctor. They don't really ever have the guts to say that to my face. And I think that is part of the reason why I tend to resent a lot those comments about me being made, because only a person who doesn't know me or hasn't gotten to know me can say such a thing. But also it goes to show just how stupid their values are. On top of that, if you wanted that for one of your children or both of your children, or in his case, all 5 of his children, how can you say that when you don't understand what it takes to produce a child of that caliber? You, as someone who has been absent, are the least adequate person to be imposing expectations on anybody. By the way, even when you say that, let me remind you that I should be who I am and want to be, not your idea. Because I find that something that a lot of kids end up trapped in is that, let's say that your parents had some kind of ambition and they didn't fulfill it. But in your case, they're investing in you so that you end up fulfilling it. Let's say that your mom wanted to be a dentist. She didn't get to be a dentist because she had you. But now you are pushed into dentistry, even though that's something that you may not be particularly interested in. But you get into it, you make it, you're successful, and now your mom is celebrating through you an achievement of hers that she did not necessarily earn. And then they wonder why, if you're set up with such a good job and whatnot, you end up miserable. Because you are not living your life. You are not being yourself. You did not have an opportunity to discover who and what you are, and therefore pursue what it is that you are meant to. And that's why some people be randomly leaving some careers behind, starting something completely unrelated and realizing that they liked it and they didn't know that they would. Or in other cases, they just completely lose all kinds of interest on any kind of work, because you may arrive at this realization really later in life. And who wants that? Nobody has time for that. Life gets tougher. But primarily, what I want to really vent about is presence. People don't understand how important it is for you to be actually present if you want for any kind of relationship to work. Let it be romantic ones, familial one, parental ones. You have to be present. In the same manner that you are willing to get paid for your time doing a job, consider the cost that you have to pay if you decide to call out from your personal life, from bonding with other people. Yes, things are going to get out of control. What did you expect? You gotta contribute. You gotta make sure that it happens. You gotta invest in me, but you just don't. And somehow you expect great results. Ma, for example, I get it. She was busy. She was trying to be responsible. But also, in a sense, she ended up being overprotective. And I'm grateful because I have never broken a bone in my life. I have never gone hungry. I've never not had clothes. But to give an example, I couldn't play sports because I was never athletic. But why wasn't athletic? Because it's not something that was really pushed. Why wasn't it pushed into me? Because there was always the potential of getting hurt. When I bought my first skateboard, what was I told? Oh, that breaks bones and breaks skulls and scrapes skin. I was always told about the dangers and the risks, but I was never really told, but this is what you can do to protect yourself from it. Anything like that. Basketball, for example. Oh, remember, you wear glasses, so don't get hit in the face. It was all about keeping me safe physically. But even if I would have been a kid getting hurt and us being entitled to health insurance when you're a kid, it still would have been costly somehow. More stress for her, which I get it. She wasn't trying to do all that, especially when my brother was special needs. In addition, okay, I didn't want to do sports, but what about music? I always had an interest in music. I couldn't do sports. That never supported me with music either. I remember saying in 7th grade that I wanted a piano and maybe lessons. And if I cannot get the lessons because I understand they're expensive, at least get me the instrument so that I can figure it out on my own. No, and with the money that I had saved up throughout my childhood, because I was never that kid who spent money immediately as soon as I got it. I had a tendency of just storing some. I was able to have enough to buy it for myself. Without lessons, of course. But fortunately, back then, there was plenty of YouTube stuff going on to where I could just watch something and get some ideas. Ideally, I also wanted to train myself on how to figure it out all alone without intervention from the exterior so that I could remain creative in a way. But all in all, I just feel neglected, like abandoned. A project that nobody ever takes up, and I have turned into a collection of incomplete projects. Like say, at my current job, have I moved up? No. Do I have the intention to? No. My side hustles. I need more materials, like say inventory, to have diversity, to increase the odds of me being able to make sales. Am I doing that? No. Can I? No. Do I want to? Yes. Do I have a plan on how to go about it? No. But to sum it all up, incomplete projects like that turn into wasted time. And when I realize that I have wasted my time, that's when I get upset. And I'm so close to quitting my side hustles. So there I go, once again, giving up on something that I barely started, but I'm discouraged because I'm doing this on my own and by myself, and I have absolutely zero cheerleaders. Then how am I supposed to be self-sufficient when I have never really been taught how to be so, how to be independent, how to be my own cheerleader? I don't think I'm designed to be that way. I'm always so tired, so stressed. I can't self-motivate. And then our current times certainly don't help. There's the economic topics. There's fraud everywhere. Everyone is trying to find a way how to bank off you. Demands from work, time-wise, but also physically. And physically to the point that you definitely output more than you're compensated for. How am I supposed to be motivated by that? the physical breakdown that I actually experience, and I don't have access to physical healthcare or mental healthcare. All of that put together makes it impossible to heal. But who do I tell that to? Who do I need to say that to so that things can actually begin to change? And the reason I put it out here is because I get the feeling that someone out there is going through the same, maybe even worse than I am, but you really cannot find the words to express it. And if I can serve as a bridge to help you make that happen, then I want to be that for you, because I did not put my mind together on this matter for a long time. It took me about 13 years when I became aware of what was really affecting me to really start putting my mind together. And even to this day, I still feel like I may not get all of my feelings across clearly. But anyway, just stop having expectations on people that cannot be delivered, because you personally are not going to be present to make sure that you're supporting this person with whatever they need to make it possible. Let's say that I decided to go back to school. School is expensive. I don't have a plan for that. I'm not exactly rich. What is the point of accruing that kind of debt anyway, if interest rates are so high that I'm probably never going to pay that off? And by the time I pay that off, how old am I going to be? 60? When am I going to start living my life? You know, when I'm like old and deteriorating and I'm supposed to like retire? No, my good energy is now. So I want to use the better years of my life, however many those may be. I want to use those now, but we're all trapped. A lot of the times I wake up in the mornings and I barely make it on time to my shifts because I'm getting up at 5:30 a.m., which technically I should get up a little earlier so that I can have breakfast. But for what do I get up? To go somewhere, to slave away, be unappreciated or underappreciated, all for minimum reward. I find comfort in the fact that at least I'm not alone, but it sucks because I, as strong, as integral as you know me to be, I just still feel broken as fuck. So imagine the people who have gone through the same or worse as me, and they don't even have the fortune of at least being very strong-willed, whatever that might look like for some people. And it's not because this person does not want to be, it's because that hasn't had a chance to really happen yet. Also, socially, I like shutting myself out because people bring an unfathomable level of stress to me, because since I'm miserable, I see everything they do through critical lenses, and that isn't healthy. Like, sure, some of the choices that I know people make are poor and I can see why, but at least they're living their life. I can't say that I'm living a life. I'm saying that I'm shutting myself off from life. So I'm not even in a good shape for any kind of relationship, really. But it's something that I definitely crave and need, but also in a society that's fucked in the mental health department, including myself. Like, what chance do I have? And when I do engage with someone socially, it's like they aren't even fucking there. Their mind is elsewhere. You're in your little social media spree. You're too concerned about your phone when it buzzes, or you're more concerned about the stuff that has happened or might happen more than creating something in the moment. And I know that I have done that too. It's like I'm already ruining my mood because I'm anticipating something that's going to happen tomorrow that isn't here yet, and it's consuming me. When do I engage with someone socially and you're actually there? It just doesn't happen often. Do you even have a mind? Sometimes people just play games instead to escape. I get it. I used to do that too. Or you're reading something. It's like we're constantly finding ways to escape from our reality, it seems. That's what keeps us numb, I guess. Literally, I feel even if I were social, nobody really has time for me. Nobody has time for me in the way that I need them to be there for me. I always want to skip my shifts so bad. That feeling that I just often have to be like, well, when I do show up, nobody else shows up. So like my work is doubled, tripled. Nobody gets mad at me because like we're all doing our best. We're all stretched thin. But that is tolerating and paving a way for a pattern of behavior that is becoming problematic. And we're just so numb to it because we're just showing up for duty because we got bills to pay. But there's no such thing as that work-life balance. And that's crucial. But we are told that we need to get through it, be okay with it, because in the end, which some of us have our lives cut short, in the end, it's all gonna work out. Like, what? No, I want to see an actual plan of how this is actually aligning to work out. My sleep is shit. It's not necessarily that I feel, wow, tired. As a result, fortunately, it hasn't caught up with me or it doesn't affect me yet. But I just hate that I'm missing out on it because I know that eventually something will happen from all this time that I haven't been able to sleep with quality. With that said, physically, I'm not recovering fully either, and I can feel it. And then, given that fact, I'm still heading into a place with physical demands. And even if I were to switch to a job where the kind of work is different, say I get to sit down and be on a computer instead, emotionally, that's not an engaging job for me. I'm the kind of person who I like to be moving. Either way, I'm losing. Why do I have to sacrifice like that if in the end, it's not like I'm going to be achieving much anyway? That is the kind of conversation I want to have. Deep, meaningful, rich, valuable. But who the fuck is here for that? Nobody. Because nowadays, people are more concerned with what so-and-so is doing or clowning about on social media. Did you see what that clown posted on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook? No, I haven't seen it because I'm here and I actually care about interacting with real people. The only time I catch up on stuff like that is when it's actually news on a product that maybe I consume and I'm like, oh, this brand is like getting flames thrown at because of this and that. You should be. You should be present and not concerned in this world that just exists virtually. It's not material. It's not like, say, whatever happens on Facebook, I can go to a Facebook building and catch up with the matter. None of that. Even if I were spending my time in places like that, the clowns who I know in person, most of them don't even make it to my social media pages. And I have a reason for that. If we're truly tight, you will have my phone number. You will have a way to directly contact me. So if you're really that interested, that's how you will reach out. After a whole day with some of you, like, I'm ready to get away from you. Not that you guys are bad people or anything, but you have to understand boundaries. So yeah, it's like you stay connected virtually, but nothing is getting done. Nothing with meaning. It's just entertainment. And I'm frustrated that I grew up being academically driven, but people don't share passion for growth or learning. That growth or interest is to just make more money, to buy shit, but it's not, oh, I want to grow into the position so I can cultivate and mentor others and teach how something is done and, I don't know, help cure the depression pandemic in a way. Because I don't know about you guys, but anytime you have someone trying to teach you something, you ever realize that they don't really know how to train you for something? They don't really know how to teach. Maybe it's because they haven't taken the time to be acquainted with what they actually do, with what they're supposed to be teaching, what they're supposed to become experts on. Your attention span is super broken. So anyway, that's what my meltdowns tend to be nowadays. I just could not control my thinking, getting critical. It's also quiet, chilly, peaceful, and I was comfortable, but restless and overall lonely. I've been this way since I was like 13, 14, thinking this way. That is who I am. I'm guessing that's who I'm meant to be. I don't get corrupted by the little games people be playing nowadays. So as opposed to resenting my own self for being someone who's rigid, maybe I need to see it as that is my gift. But if I get careless, like everything, it can be a curse or a poison. Maybe that's where I'm at. Like, I need guidance with this so-called gift, but who the fuck is there for this? Is there even a guide for this? Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna get off this now.